I am again Lauren Polly. I am the multi-award winning author of The Other Side of Bipolar. I have an international business doing speaking engagements all around self-care and self-empowerment. I speak to colleges, corporations, I work one-to-one with people. I do a whole bunch of different stuff, basically. I really spent my life looking at how I can assist people in having the best life possible for them. And in my perspective, that is really about having themselves no matter what. I think so often we try to create the best life possible, and we do that by trying to live up to expectations or keep up with the Joneses or trying to fit in. For me, it's a very different conversation. All of us are so incredibly unique. And because we are unique and we have innate gifts and capacities that sometimes aren't identified and sometimes go underutilized in our lives, we don't actually live the creative breath that we're actually able to. Our path forward sometimes isn't quite as unique. We get lost in other people's worlds, and we get lost in people's expectations and labels and definitions of us. For me, growing up with a mental health diagnosis that is chronicled in my book, The Other Side of Bipolar, that was a huge thing for me. Being stigmatized, having a huge definition, being told this is how your life is going to turn out, kind of took my creative power away. It took my sense of self away and put it not here in myself where it belonged, but in the eyes of the doctors or in the textbooks of the diagnosis. In all the upsets that I had been through, that became the defining thing in my life, in my world. And I know many of you listening have had something similar, even if it's not about a diagnosis or a label for you. Where have you allowed other people from the outside to give you your sense of self-worth, self-confidence, success, and really and truly where you should be going with your life? It actually doesn't lead in a generative direction. And this community is all about giving you the resources, the content, and the tools to be able to guide your own life and steer your own ship, so to speak, so that you can find your true north and actually have that as a guidepost, not other people's opinions of you. For me, kind of not only going through this mental health label when I was younger and working my way through it, first in traditional modalities and then adding in alternative practices, yoga, meditation, body movement, art therapy, energetic tools and practices, which unlocked a huge amount for me. We'll get into that big time coming up. It's been fascinating to look at what that turning point, what that choice point actually created for me. Not just to stick with the traditional, but to add in the wellness component on top of that. Not to give up the traditional in favor of it, but allow myself to cherry pick and make my own recipe for success. And part and parcel of that, what actually let my success shine that way, is being able to utilize things that let me tune into my own voice and guide myself from there so that I didn't have to live up to other people's to-dos or live up to their X plus Y equals Z's reality for health and wellness. It's actually not what creates for most of us. We need a bandwidth of possibilities. We need all of this different information so that we can start to put it to use as we see fit, and to have the personal power to actually do that and see it through. So my story of not just coming out of a mental health diagnosis, utilizing wellness techniques, energetic techniques, and more of a holistic perspective, but even the path since then, launching my multi-award winning book, having these speaking engagements, up-leveling my career, and really being a leader of a different conversation in the world has pushed my edges. It has pushed my growing points. And like most of us, as we grow, as we go into new areas, it's exciting and feels delicious because you're stretching your wings. Also, when you stretch your wings, sometimes you hit that outer bubble of what's possible for you. You get a bit uncomfortable, self-doubt creeps in. Sometimes your self-care goes away, where you lose a sense of yourself in the excitement of everything going on. So this community is really about harnessing that power for yourself no matter what you're going through. If you are someone who's highly successful now and are just looking at how do I take care of me as I go forward, this is the right spot for you as well. We're going to bring all of that into conversations. And for me, it's really about discovering the uniqueness and launching and blazing that trail that is unique to you that no one else can do. No one else can see because it is your path, not theirs, to blaze and to trail ahead.